I would like to thank, as always, the Coaches Association for bringing me here, and for all of you that chose to spend your time over here to get educated. Congratulations to you. That's time well spent. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to cover a lot in a short period of time. It's going to be a lot of information. So I'm going to get to it as fast as possible. So today's subject is spacing, but not just spacing. We're talking about offense. And the main goal is to explain how we manipulate spacing to achieve our goals. How offensively we will set the spacing according to what we want, what we have, what we want to achieve. So that's the first part. When we're talking about spacing and choosing the correct spacing, we start by knowing ourselves. We have to know what is the aim, who are we playing it for, what is the goal of the play, of the spacing, of the situation we're creating. Then, also related to that is who is the opponent. You got to know your opponent. What defense am I going to face, how the opponent is going to react. There's been a lot of talk over here about the weaknesses, how to target weaker defenders. We're not going to focus on that, but that's a big part of what you choose, why you choose it. Then, after that, we go to choose the correct spacing to achieve our goals, and this is going to be the main thing how we're going to explain. Like I said, we're going to focus on offense. We're going to start on pick and roll. We're going to go to low post after that. There's a lot over there, though. Hopefully, if we got enough time, we're going to do one extra chapter, one extra part, where we're going to talk about switch defense specifically. So, let's get the team over here. Let's go, boys, and let's get started. Five on five, please.
5 on 5, please.
5 on 5. So we're going to have a few mentions on plays that we're going to use, but mostly we're not talking about plays over here. We are talking about the end situation, the end formation that are standard in most plays that we're going to have. Okay, so let's go start with the most common and most popular, in my opinion, which is the 4 corners wing pick and roll. Okay, so I need somebody over here, I need the ball over here, I need the pick and roll over here, pass ahead and corner.
Corner.
Great. So, we already had a lot of displays from previous coaches about plays that end up in this formation. We had the situation that was handoff and pick and roll. We saw the situation that was pass to 4, flare, and another pick and roll, and that's a popular formation. What makes this formation so popular is that it's the most balanced situation in pick and roll. Okay, when I'm going to run the pick and roll over here, and we're going to assume over here that we're forcing a drop defense, coming off the pick, first of all, this is symmetrical. We got 2 and 2. We haven't overloaded one side or the other. All the passes are close. Okay, so usually what we got over here, you're going to lift, so pass ahead is available. If I want the pass to the dive, available, pass back, so 3 options already, and depending on the creator and the defense, even that pass is not forbidden. It's close enough from this formation specifically. Okay, so this is the most popular for that reason. 2-2. Usually what we have over here is teams that play this are focusing on the back action, meaning coming off the pick and roll, usually we start looking over there. Dive and lift, dive and lift. Don't underestimate this. And this can give you very good ball movement, like advance the ball, pass, keep going, close out, a lot of options. However, and this is my main issue, 90% of the time when you teach this, what we're going to say, pass back player is doing what? Lift. Okay, come closer, be available, stay close, and thread from here. And that is the case in 90% of the time. Assuming we're playing a drop defense, that's what you're going to ask over here. Assuming you're playing a hedge defense, that's what we're going to ask over here. But this is the point of the seminar. According to what we want, this may not always be the case. And let me give you an example on that. Let's assume we're facing a switching defense. And I get this switch over here. And what we face a lot of times is they try to protect this guard and they go on a triple switch, especially if that's a big body over there. Okay, so come over here, defender. So after this guy is going to move back and this guy is going to take over, assuming this is going to be a bigger body. And at the moment we're lifting over here, we get what? We go closer to defense. Okay, so I was defending here, I get the switch, that's 1, 2, and I got him. So a lot of times, and hopefully we can watch some highlights on that, manipulation of spacing demands that you create increased distance. Make it harder for defense to cover that. So let's go again on the pick and roll. So let's say we've got the switching defense and that's a triple. You're gonna take over the dive, you're gonna go on the pass back. And now, instead of lifting, go, take over, I increase the distance. That is one example of space manipulations, how we can use it. Everything though, and that's the other part of what we're gonna talk about today, this has a cost. There is a sacrifice for whatever we do. Okay, yes, I increase the distance for the rotation player. I also increase the distance for the passer. Therefore, we talk a lot about who is this guy. And that's the main thing. Who is the player running the pick and roll? Who am I playing this for? A good creator may get this pass. Do I trust this guy to get that pass? That's a space manipulation. I create a problem already to the rotation. Usually, this is a very effective formation for good creators. If we go back and we see players like Sergio Rodriguez, Milos Teodosic, Micic, this is a formation they favored. They always like to be in this formation because every option is close. They got balance, like I said, they can take the shot, they got enough space for the drive, and they got all the passes close, so if they read and play, that's a good formation for these guys. Like I said, this is a very popular formation, and because we got a lot to see, I'm gonna move to the next one. Okay, because for me that is the most interesting and I like it a lot, which is the high pick and roll. Okay, let's formate this. Attacking the single side. So let's go corner over there, please. Let's lift up over here. This could be a lot of things, okay? Like I said, we're not focusing on plays, but this could be a zipper pick and roll, this could be a stagger pick and roll, this could be a pin down, this could be from a double exit, a step up ankle. So, like I said, who are we playing this for? This is ideal formation when we got a drive player over here, when this guy's a slasher. Because when we go over the pick and roll, let's see the spacing. We manipulated the spacing for what reason? To create what? More space over here. Especially if we got over here a weak defender, a lot of times we're targeting the opponent 5, and we want to create a downhill situation for our guard. So I pick this usually when I have over here a drive player. Also, in space manipulation, what we're going to do is increase the spacing a lot of times. So usually you got this situation. But if I want to create running speed, a corridor for my drive player to attack the rim, a lot of times what we do, we go even one step further back, and we go over here on the step-up ankle, and now, coming off the pick and roll. Dribble, go hit the defender, exactly, stop. So like we said, we created space here. We took the space from there. Okay, we loaded that side in order to empty this part of the court for the drive player. Now, also on this, we got what? The pass in, pass back, pass ahead. Theoretically, that is a pass that is the furthest away, so it's kind of a cost. Okay, it's difficult coming off the pick to make that pass and be effective. However, let's go back to the start. What do we want from this player? Who is this player? We said this is a drive player. And if this is the case and who I'm playing it for, and I'm attacking, and I go into the paint, is this far? Again, no. Okay, that's a deal. We already, you heard previous speakers talking about spacing and what they want. And for me, this is also very interesting. So, Coach Matteo said the other day, he likes his players to touch the paint. And I agree with that 100%. I love that. The more touches in the paint I get, the better my offense is going to look. And he also said corner. He wants the player over here in the corner. That's also a rule in my system. I want corners filled at all times. And I want these players over here. I want that player over there. And that's the ideal situation for me, this type of spacing. But this is not the only spacing there is. Like I said, according to what we want and according to what we want to achieve, nothing is wrong. You got to pick the right tool for the right job. Okay, we're going to focus on the pass back a little bit later. But we got teams, get the ball over here, please. Now, we got teams that are using this spacing a little bit different. And for me, probably the team that you're going to see that the most is Olympiacos. Okay, I'm saying that so you understand what the difference is and how this team is playing. So let's say now that everybody take 2 steps up. 2, 2, 2, 2. Exactly. Stop. A lot of times when Olympiacos is playing, they put the player over the break over here. Why would you do that? What is the difference? You want something different, you want to attack somewhere else. Okay, so over here we said that previous situation, our focus was that this guy wants to attack the rim. But that's not Olympiacos system so much. Most of the times, they want to move the ball. This is not the target. That guy over there is a target. They're using the pick and roll as a manipulation to attack somewhere else. And from over there, how does this seem different? We took space and we gave it here. Okay, we moved everybody up in order to create on this corridor more spacing compared to before. So before, when I put the player in the corner, when he get the ball, what we got over here? We got the shot, and now if you go to the baseline, it's not like you cannot use this, but already you're close to the baseline and you're behind the board. So most likely you want to attack the middle. If you attack the middle, that's good. But what we see a lot of times is pick and roll, especially for this formation. So pick and roll, which becomes less aggressive, and immediately that guy over here replaces. And that guy lifts. And from this, Olympiacos is a good example of a team that moves the ball immediately. Okay, so bam, bam. What kind of spacing he has now? How much space he gets to attack the baseline? He can attack the middle, he can take the shot. So there is no wrong or right. It's what I want. Who am I playing this for? So previously we were talking about a guy that we want to create as much space as possible for his drive. Now we want something different. Therefore, we manipulated space to create something different. Now offense wanted to make defense focus on that and attack there. Therefore, they used a different spacing. They came up. We take space from there, we put it over here so we can use it, because that's what we're targeting. Let's go back from the top. Now go corners. There was already a mention on the previous, on this situation that we're going to talk about is what we do with the pass back player. We got options over here also. So, normally, what we will say when I run the pick and roll, replace. Okay, make yourself available. Move towards the ball, and over here, I got this, I got maybe my closeout, or I got the swing. But this is already mentioned on Coach Matteo again, no, this was when Coach Lasso and once Pasquale were talking about what defense? Bump. Okay, and I faced this a lot of times, and you need to think how you're going to use spacing on that. So in this situation, this guy comes, and he's trying to bump this. And by moving up there, I'm doing him a favor. Boom. One-step recovery. Okay, so over here, Once again, we got the same that we talked before. Do I create spacing which is going to favor the pass? Is this guy going to move to where the pass is easier? Or am I going to create distance for the defender? Already, Coach Pasquale, if I remember correctly, mentioned that his instruction was stay wide. Stay here. Okay, this means immediately you got to space out over here, give him space also. You're going to go to the corner also over there. So in this situation, once again, like I said before, what you need to ask is, who is this guy? Can he make that pass? Okay, I did make it a lot harder for this guy to get the bump and recover. Maybe he can do the bump, he's not going to do the recover. Maybe he will hesitate because of the space and not going to do the bump. This created an advantage. This created also a disadvantage. Can I make this pass over here with a defender on my back over here and make this pass? That's not a very difficult pass, but because you're all coaching on different levels, you got to make the judgment call. Can my player do that? It's not just the spacing. We got to get the ball from here to here. A lot of times we got players, and probably you'll experience this. Somebody in the corner, hey, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open. Yeah, you're open, but nobody can give you the ball. Because that's a tough pass, because the ball is on the way on the other side of the court. Doesn't matter if you're open. It has to be a possible pass. So in this situation, this is something you need to read. Bump, space, or quick ball movement. But again, the goal and the idea on this is what? If I move, again, I'm the defender. Pick and roll. If I move and you lift, bump, recover, easy. If you stay there and he can make that pass, I'm coming for the bump, pass, and now, different story. I created the closeout at least. Okay? Get the ball over here again now. One thing that we saw in the previous days and was very interesting for me, and that was in Jesus Mateo speech, is what happens over here if the defense decides to mess up your spacing. How would we do that? What do I want over here? Drive player, attack there. Where did I create the space? You can all see where the space is. Then defensively, I might choose what? And we already spoke about this. Force weak hand, force on the other side, force to the crowd, whatever it is. Okay, so defender might say, in defense in general, that's the space, you're not going there. What was the reaction that we saw? Already explained. Coach said, good, dribble back, hit this pick, okay, hit this pick, clear. That's a solid reaction, yes. Maybe yes, maybe no, depends on what you want. What did we sacrifice to get this spacing now? What did we do offensively? We had the space over there, and with this move, we moved the space over here. Do I want this? And what did I sacrifice? Count your offense, count the seconds. Don't just think in X and O's. This happens live on the game. So I'm coming down court. I have a setup, stagger, zipper, whatever. So I came on 18 seconds. Then I go on the entry pass. Zipper pick and roll, stagger pick and roll. That's 14 seconds. Then I get the ball over here. With 14 seconds, that's enough time to attack. But when the defense forces me weak hand, and I need 1, 2, dribble back, cut, change the angle. Suddenly, my offense is on 10 seconds. So I sacrifice time. Besides spacing, timing, and speed of execution, momentum, quick decision making, that speed of execution, it's very important. So right now, I moved space from here to here, but I sacrificed timing and momentum. In addition, I switched this hand. I was going to drive on my right hand, now I'm going to drive on my left hand. Can he do this? Do I want to insist on that? Good. If he can do this, if it's not a problem for me, that's what I'm going to use. But what if we don't do that? Please come over here, go corner. And what in this situation,